Can you hear me okay? Great. I want to say a word or two about Genii Earth, pronounced Genii Earth. Genii, like Jedi. Genii has two meanings. The first is multiple geniuses, because we strongly believe that the time of the single leader, charismatic leader on white horses is old. We need collective wisdom, collective geniuses from every single one of you to confront what we are confronted with in the world today. And the second, Genii means the spirit of a place. So, Genii Earth. At Genii Earth, our purpose is to awaken genius in individuals and collectives, to create high-performing organizations, teams, and endeavors that serve life. We work at the intersection of leadership development, team alignment, culture transformation, and project execution with those who are working to reimagine business and life on the planet Earth. Now, I could talk to you about anything on leadership and culture development and all the frameworks and strategies and blah, 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 which is important. It's great. It's all wonderful stuff. But I want to cut through the noise. I want you to remember me. I want you to remember what I'm saying. I want to give you something that you'll take seriously and you'll, in your own life immediately. Because the world needs you to be on your best game right now. I hear it in all of your voices when I talk to you. So what's the most change-resistant environment you can imagine? Some of you might be thinking it's my company. Or some of you might be thinking it's my clients, it's their companies. For me, it was a women's prison where I spent 4 years of my life. And what I discovered there was a catalyst for every meaningful thing I would accomplish after I left. When I was 19 years old, I was sentenced to what the Oregon prison system considers a life sentence. This is a clip from the Oregonian in 1983. I just aged myself. My maiden name is Hardwick. Today I'm sharing 5 lessons that don't come from my MBA degree, although I have one. They come from a place where I had 0 formal authority, no budget, no title, and yet managed to create institutional change that transformed my time there and many others. If I could bring college education to women in prison, build partnerships with outside organizations, and create equity where where none existed, as a prisoner, you can absolutely drive the transformation your organization needs. So let's begin with the most counterintuitive lesson. Stillness is a superpower. In a 6x9 cell, there's no escape, no Netflix to binge, no meetings to hide behind, no busy work to distract you. It's just you and your thoughts. At first, this felt like torture, but then something shifted. Most of us spend our entire lives running from ourselves. We fill every moment with noise, tasks, and distractions. But leaders who can't sit with themselves, who can't face their own thoughts, will never have the clarity to lead others through uncertainty. How many leaders do you know who are constantly in motion but never actually moving forward? Who fill their calendars to avoid hard thinking? My favorite Warren Buffett quote, "Busy is the new stupid." Learning stillness of mind gave me the ability to see patterns others missed, to respond instead of react. Learning stillness of mind gave me the ability to see patterns. Oh, I already said that. So here's my challenge to you. When was the last time you sat in complete silence for 30 minutes? Not meditating with an app or a guided meditation, just stillness. It was in that stillness that I discovered something even more powerful. And this was the stories that I was telling myself. Lesson number 2, The stories you tell yourself, about your organization, decide your fate, full stop. Every single day I had a choice. I could tell myself the story that I was the victim, that the system was against me, that my life was over. Or I could tell myself a different story, that this was a chapter, not the whole book. I chose to see myself as a classroom. Every obstacle became a lesson. Every difficult person became a teacher. Think Shawshank Redemption. From that mindset, I didn't just survive, I created. I built relationships with decision makers. I brought in outside people and organizations. I had to convince people to help me create change who did not want it. And sometimes I paid a price for my persistence, but that's a different talk for a different time. Your organization's story about sustainability, about change, about what's possible, that story determines your fate. Are you telling yourself, oh, the market won't support this? Or are you authoring a different story? Think of your organization as just a network of conversations. That's all it is. You are the story that you tell yourself. We need to stop telling the stories we don't want circulating and start circulating the stories we do want. In prison, there were few opportunities for constructive time, as you can imagine. Think Orange is the New Black. I love that show. How many people have seen it? It's so true. It's so true. I know those people. I mean, those are characters I actually know. Here are the things a woman could do when I arrived in 1983. You could work in the kitchen. You could work in the mattress factory making inmate bedding, cleaning detail, maintenance detail, or take stenography and typing lessons that were self-paced from a paperback book. Raise your hand if you know what stenography is. If you don't, Google it. When the doors to the yard were open, you could also sit in the yard or walk circles inside the fence. In the early days, I spent a lot of time doing both of those. But when I started to change my story, then things began to happen. Here's what I did in my first year. I launched the Lifers Club, where women sentenced to anywhere from 20 years to life could participate in something meaningful with their time. We earned money by starting a photography program where women could get pictures taken of themselves to send home to families and loved ones. With that money, we created a knitting and sewing program where we would knit hats for newborns at the hospital and sweaters and other clothing for those experiencing homelessness. We created a program where if you could earn points for good behavior, you could order clothes from a catalog instead of wearing state issue clothes to help us feel just a little bit more human rather than like a number. I recruited a student from the local university in the physical education department to run a jazzercise class, so funny, as her internship credit. And then I memorized her routine and I ran it myself for the next 3 years. That student recruited another student at the university to teach a tennis class in the prison for her credit. And we started a tennis team and played regular tennis tournaments. I motivated the guard who ran the visitation building to help us form an inmate softball team and joined the City League, where teams would come in from the outside to play us. We never won a single game, and more than one game ended in a fight, sometimes with each other, sometimes with other players on the other team. That lasted 1 season. I learned a lot about how to get things done in that first year. This is my prison tennis buddies. That's me all the way on the left. What can I say with the 80s? And yes, I'm actually a brunette. This picture was taken by a journalist with the Oregonian who came to interview me as president of the Lifers Club. And as you can see by the byline, they were surprised at who they met. It says, "Women lifers don't fit the mold." Once I rewrote my story, I discovered something about power that most people never learn. Real power is the ability to influence without authority. I had zero formal authority. No badge, no budget, No staff. The people who could approve or deny everything I wanted held all the power. And yet I got wardens and guards to say yes, repeatedly. The loudest voice doesn't win inside. The most aggressive approach backfires. What works is presence, consistency, building trust through small actions before asking for big ones. I became valuable before I asked for anything. This is what I consider, pun intended, inside-out approach. Build trust and identify allies first. Start small with quick wins that prove value. Scale through partnerships. Create visibility and legitimacy. Only escalate to compliance when absolutely necessary. Sustainability leaders often lack budget, authority, or direct control. You can't make anyone do anything, but you can influence them. But here's what I did not expect. To influence others effectively, I first had to face something uncomfortable about myself. You can't lead others until you're brave enough to see yourself. There's a concept in psychology called shadow work. How many people know about shadow work or have done shadow work? A lot of, nice, I love to see that. This is about the parts of ourselves that we're unaware of or don't want to see. In normal life, you can hide from your shadow, stay busy, build an identity around your title. In a cell, there's nowhere to hide. Your shadow is right there all the time. I had to face every story I told myself about who I was, every excuse, every pattern. It was brutal. And in retrospect, this is important, it was one of the most important leadership developments I ever experienced, and the inner work I would have to practice every day since. Leaders who haven't done this work project their shadow onto others. They blame, they avoid, they make decisions from the fear that they don't even recognize that's inside of them. There are three aspects of each of us that are present all the time. The persona we create to show others, usually what we perceive to be the best of ourselves. The parts of ourselves we intentionally hide from others to protect ourselves. And there's the parts of us that others can usually see that we can't see ourselves. The bigger the disparities between these three, the more calories and energy we burn up and burn out every day not being our authentic selves, when we could be putting that energy into delivering on our purpose. Organizations have shadows too, the things we don't talk about, the values we claim but don't live. Sustainability leaders are often asking organizations to see their shadow, the impacts they'd rather not acknowledge. When I heard that the men's penitentiary had a college education program, it struck me that all the work I was doing was great, but it wasn't work that will call me to be my best self and prepare me for the outside. And the fact that women weren't getting equal opportunity to develop themselves at the educational level was completely unacceptable for me. Through contacts, commitment, and deep connection and relationships that I had developed, I pushed for a college program for the women. The academic counselor from Western Oregon College of Education, now Western Oregon University, it's called something different at the time, worked closely with me to help push equal opportunity for myself and for other women who are interested and capable of attending college and prison. Just short of a legal battle, the program at the men's penitentiary opened up 8 slots for women every day during semesters for the next 3 years, including summers. I was shackled at the ankles and the waist and walked from the women's prison to inside the walls of the men's penitentiary to attend college. This was my most proud achievement during my time. When I finally paroled after 4 years, I was the first woman to earn a 4-year degree inside Oregon's women's prison walls. And what an education it was. This is me inside the men's prison receiving my diploma from the head of the prison school program. This is me with a couple of my classmates and my best friend, Benita, and cellmate for most of my time in prison. Oh, Benita. And this last one is of me with my parents. When I finally saw myself clearly, I discovered what really truly matters, and that's lesson number 5. Connection is the only currency that matters. When you lose your freedom, you realize how much of your identity was built on things that don't matter. Your title, your possessions, your social status. What's left when all that's gone is your relationships, the ability to connect, the trust that you've built, and the people who show up for you. Every single thing I accomplished inside happened because of relationships. The wardens who approved my programs, I built those relationships one conversation at a time. The outside organizations that came in, someone had to trust me enough to take that chance. In a place where money is scarce and formal power means nothing, connection is everything. The future of sustainability and business itself belongs to leaders who build trust, not empires. So here's what I've learned during my 4 years in prison. Stillness gave me clarity when chaos was everywhere. Self-authoring let me see a cell as a classroom. Influence without authority helped me move mountains without a title. Shadow work made me a leader worth following. Connection made everything else possible. I created gender equity and education inside a prison system. I brought outside organizations into a place designed to keep them out. The question isn't whether change is possible. The question is whether you're willing to cultivate the leadership capacity to make it happen. Thank you. There you go. Thank you.